Hi, and welcome to another Yogilachi viewers video. So today we're going to focus on cramping, and especially around the rib cage. So I made a video around spasms and rib pain, and that got a lot of views and a lot of comments, and I'll link that below. But this one specifically came from a viewer that watched that and then was coming up with more cramping type of feeling sensations in the rib area. So I'm going to answer that in 3 steps. The first thing you have to check are, how are your basics? Are you hydrated? The second thing is you want to check and see if you are nourished properly. So let's go back to step 1, which is the hydration. If you are drinking poor quality water or these bottled waters that have additives like the minerals for taste, that actually can create a deficit in your chemistry of your own body. So for example, there's calcium chloride that's added to certain bottled water out there. Major companies, they stick them in there and they say it's for flavor, or they do magnesium chloride. Your body doesn't necessarily need that. So you want to be really careful, because when you take one nutrient or one mineral that has to have another mineral in order to be assimilated by the body, in order to be used, and you only get that one mineral, but it doesn't have its counterpart that it needs to be so that the body can use it, it's going to create a deficit in your body by pulling out the other mineral that it needs to link up with to create the nutrient or energy in your body. So it'll pull, let's say for example, you have too much calcium, it's going to pull the magnesium. Too much phosphorus, it's going to pull calcium and magnesium out of the teeth or out of the nails or out of the bones. We don't want any of that. And a lot of misunderstanding around nutrition and around water and, oh, I should take alkaline. There is so much confusion. Keep it simple. Go back to my Yogilachi basic guide. It tells you exactly how to do it. You're drinking it. Set your timer. Every 30 minutes, you're drinking 4 ounces of pure H2O, pure water. I'm drinking distilled water myself now. I'm only doing distilled water because of the chemicals that are added into our water. Your body, your liver, your kidneys are not happy organs when you add all that junk in, okay? So a lot of that's going to be eliminating, stopping adding in stuff, because you're creating a deficit in your body. And when you've got cramps going on, that is usually an indication that there's either dehydration or a deficiency in minerals. But you have to know what minerals, because you can't just arbitrarily take mineral A or mineral B or this or potassium. You have to know what it is that your body's missing. And that's a whole other video. So let's go back to this. Step 2, nourishment. You want to be eating whole foods, because that's really where your body gets its medicine. And you want to be eating a variety of those whole foods every day at every meal. If you're eating processed packaged junk food, that creates, once again, a deficit in your body. It's like withdrawing from your bank account every day without putting in more money. So we can't create deficits in our body and expect it to be happy and healthy. And the third piece is, of course, optimal movement. I'll show you how you can do some optimal movement exercises to help with cramping around the ribs. See you soon. All right, so let's do some movements that will help with those ribs and cramping. One of the things that I was thinking that it could be also is that lungs get tight and clogged when we breathe shallowly. There's stuff and gunk that gets into our lungs, so we want to make sure we're breathing fully in our diaphragm. And when we do breathe fully, big breaths, and it expands those lungs and the rib cage, and we get that breath, the lungs will sometimes almost, it's like they're squeezing, so it'll make us cough. And that's not a bad thing. So for example, I will practice that. It's a yogic practice of engaging and strengthening the organs, especially the lungs. And so you can practice that as well for really helping to keep the lungs healthy. The next thing I want to show you is some Qigong work. So anything around Qi that's essentially energy, right? So the life force that's moving through our body. Energy. When we have stagnant energy, that also is a reason for cramping or stuck energy. So we can use very simple tapping type of motion or sweeping type of motion. All right, so very simply, I would tap my lung area. Of course, the ribs are all along here, right? So your upper rib and all around the ribs, I tap everywhere because that is going to help stimulate Qi. So we're going to tap everywhere that we can reach. And if you have a partner who can do this type of gentle tapping, you can have them do that as well. I have a whole Qi work video that shows you how to do Qi Yogilachi massage. So it's a Qi working through the body, and that's a great one. I'll have to put the link in there for this one. But for right now, let's use the tapping and the sweeping type of motion for this. So we can do sweeping, and we're just encouraging the flow of energy. We don't want anything stuck or stagnant. We want the flow of energy, but we also don't want it scattered or dispersed everywhere like chaotic. We want it to be flowing naturally. So we work on that in a gentle way, and we can do that sweeping motion. The next thing is movement. So what kind of movement are our ribs really needing to be doing? Well, if we're collapsed over, that movement forward tends to, our body is just naturally going to want to go into that because it's always trying to conserve. So we have to encourage ourselves, right? Motivate ourselves by wanting to stay healthy, by wanting to feel good for as long as we live. So we have to move, and it's just what we have to do is we have to break up the inertia. So if you're doing this all day, we need to counter that with chest openers. And this is the favorite exercise that I would have you do. Cat and cow, super wonderful for the whole spinal system, all the way through cat and cow. And then I would do 10 of cat and cow, and then I would do a reach through and under. So I'm going to reach this way first, and then I want to show you this direction. As I reach through, I'm just laying all the way down and stretching. So you can see the back of my body is getting, the thoracic is stretching. This next piece is simply reaching as if you're going to pat yourself on the back. So you've extended the space, you've created lengthening. But on this one, now if you aren't able to hold on one position and do quadruped, you can do it seated and then reach forward. But ultimately what you're trying to do is get range of motion. So we're reaching the elbow with the hand staying, patting the back, elbow, and then reaching up and trying to open that elbow way up, and then down, and continuing that. And you want to do that on both sides. The other is to reach your hand to the middle of your back, wherever that is for you, even if it's just a little bit at first, and then building to be able to get that hand to reach the middle of the back. So then we do the same exact thing. We're going to take the elbow and reach, and then we're going to reach that elbow up to the sky. Reaching down and opening that elbow to the sky. Opening, opening, opening. Okay, it really feels great. Just me doing that for that shoulder feels amazing. I can feel the flow of Qi. I can't wait. I need to do it on my other side, but I want to get this video out to you so you can see it very simply. Pat yourself on the back, wherever your elbow is. You're wanting to reach, rotate, rotate, so that thoracic rotation. Remember, thoracic is mobile. If it's stuck, it's going to help. It's going to be a cause for a lot of that cramping in the rib area. So we want thoracic to be mobile, elbow front, elbow back, or if you can be on the quadruped position, do to the floor and then to the sky. And then reach behind, go forward and back. Now remember, you're not wanting to turn your hip area, you're wanting to turn your thoracic. So you're turning and rotating from your thoracic vertebra, which is what houses the rib cage. And then I want to show you one last piece. I have a little roller. It's foam. Hopefully you can get a foam roller or something gentle like this, because what we can do with that is we can place that underneath and gently roll the tissue. So that thoracic area, specifically on the side, serratus anterior, it's those, the tissue between those ribs can get really spasmy when we've got puckers of muscles that are just grabbing. If you've had a surgery, but hopefully fully recovered, scar tissue will pull. It'll act as tight trigger points and it'll pull and refer pain. So if you are able to roll that very gently, so you're going to roll until you find a spot. If the spot then sends out radiating pain, you want to stay on it for just a moment. Of course, if I'm saying this, if it's not, I'm assuming you're not having an acute injury, right? This is where the spot of pain is hurting, it's radiating out, so you're going to stay on it because you've triggered it. And you want to stay on it until it releases. So let's say, for example, I've got a spot right here, and I'm going to say it's a 6. And I'm going to stay on it until, and breathe and just relax into it, until it goes down, 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 3, 2, almost to nothing. And then I'm moving just a little bit. I found the next piece, goes back up to a 6, and I'm on that spot, and I'm just going to do a little bit of range of motion through. So I'm just moving naturally the movement of my arm or the tissue that's around it. I'm just moving the joint that I can move around it, the nearest joint, because that will help the muscle release, and it naturally releases. Okay, so that's another piece for the trigger point therapy release videos, and super helpful. But those exercises should really help, and they could take 10 minutes to do the cat-cow and to do that sequence, right? Just a reminder, cat-cow sequence, thread underneath. So you're just reaching like you're reaching underneath the bed, and you're resting. See if you can see that, resting your head on the floor gently. If you're able to open even more, you can do the full yoga pose that helps to stretch and open that thoracic. I want to show you from the other side so you see what's happening. Hopefully you can see this. So I'm stretching all the way down, and the leverage I'm getting is from my arm here, and then I can reach and open. Okay? And then I would do the elbow open, open. Okay, I really hope that helps. Make sure you comment below. Let me know if you have something else going on. It's more fun for me to make videos that I know are going to help someone. And I know if you just apply the basics, you will find improvement. A lot of it has to do with lifestyle. So if you're not sure what to do, make sure you grab the basic Yogilachi guide.